Happy month of September, diaspora. As followers of Christ Jesus, we care deeply not only about the political and technological landscapes of our society, but also about the spiritual ramifications of these developments. In this special two-part episode, we are honored to have an extraordinary panel of voices joining us to delve deep into the issues that will define our future. In this first part of our episode, we'll be diving into the upcoming 2024 presidential elections. As we approach a pivotal moment in our nation's history, we must ask ourselves, what are the stakes? How will the outcome of this election shape our collective future? And most importantly, how will it influence us spiritually as children of God? We will then navigate the complexities surrounding the pressing Microsoft CrowdStrike issues in an age where technology dominates our lives. Cybersecurity remains a critical concern. We'll unpack the latest developments and their broader implications, including potential risks and benefits for our society. In the latter half of our episode, we will then shift our focus to spiritual warfare and its effects on today's society. We are witnessing unprecedented challenges and opportunities as believers. It is essential to explore how these spiritual dynamics influence our communities and individual lives. Finally, we'll discuss the broader implications of these issues for the future state of America. From policy changes to social dynamics, what can we expect? How can we, as children of Christ Jesus, navigate these turbulent times with faith and wisdom? Join us as we seek to understand multifaceted challenges before us and find pathways to a hopeful and spiritually grounded future.
All of this coming up on today's show.
With no bias,
no lies,
Real Vim,
Real Kasa. Hey viewers, if you're looking for some amazing West African cuisines in New Jersey, visit Legit African Touch at 52 Ferry Street, South River, New Jersey. Mama's Secret only continental dishes, preferably Ghanaian or Nigerian dishes, all in Legit African Touch. Get a feel of the African touch now. On today's show, I have brought on three wonderful speakers on to discuss these crucial and concerning topics with us. Today we have
Precious Osuji, founder and creative leader.
Diva Zorokong, financial crimes.
Mine is Toyin Falorenshaw, financial analyst and public affairs analyst.
These are three wonderful guests that we have here today. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Welcome to the panel.
Thank you for having us.
You know, we all witnessed what happened last night. You know,
Yes.
at the debate.
We sure did.
I can't wait to really unwrap this and then go into it, giving a full analysis of what we think, especially as believers as Christ and citizens of the United States, on what is happening.
Yes.
So, you know, let's go into it. So, is the democracy on the ballot for 2024? That's the first question. But before then, I would like, you know, Precious, to also let the viewers know how this, you know, conversation is very important.
Yes, of course. So I believe that it's easy to think of politics as something to spectate, right? Politicians are the doers. Other people are the analyzers, and citizens, we just sit back and we watch. But it's so much more than that. And when we talk about American rights and human rights, what we've been given is the right to vote and the right to participate in politics. And we need to tap into our personal power to drive impact and to drive change. And we must first believe that we do have the ability to do so. So with that being said, I encourage all voters, or all people, young people and old people, to register to vote and to participate in what the nation has to offer.
Absolutely. Very well said, Precious. Thank you so much.
Amazing.
Thank you.
So, you know, to start off this conversation, the first question is really like, is democracy on the ballot anymore in 2024? And what are our analysis on September 10th presidential debate? What do we really think about, you know, the debate on September 10th?
All right. First of all, thank you so much. That was great, Precious. Thank you so much. I think I'd start by saying that nothing like active citizens, right? And active citizens has to do with you being aware. And I think one of the things every politician around the world has weaponized is the information. Access to right and undiluted information. Takes, for instance, the election rigging in 21st century has gone beyond, people kind of like, stifle right or fake ballot papers. No, it's how they actually works on your mind. So it goes beyond election. It's a systematic rigging that many of us we don't actually pay attention to.
And don't understand.
Think, for instance, on social media, some of the things that they push on your ways. It's so easy now to weaponize propaganda. I can easily wake up and say that, Precious, you do that, and of course you didn't do that. I can easily use some of the tools to actually, turn some of the things that you didn't do actually. So the question as to whether the democracy is on the ballot, it's actually relative, right? It's a survivor of the fittest, and we saw that yesterday during the presidential debate. I would try not to be biased as much as I can during this conversation, but of course, this election is about election of one who has vision as to what I want to do. The other person to also have a vision, but there is a continuity as to agenda. One focuses on nationalism, one focuses on globalization. And many topical issues as to where the American society is right now, it's bordering around the healthcare, the climate change, the economy, the senior society guys, and as to basically how do we then maintain peace all around the world. And I hear question all the times that why does it bother Americans so much to interfere in the happenings around the world? So I'm going to use an hypothetical example among the four of us. Let's say my colleague right here is the first among all of us. All of us were being born by the same parent. He's the first child. The rest of us were after him. If he gets it right, automatically things works better for us. And if he just mind his own business without looking into what the rest of us were doing, if perhaps one of us do commit a crime, we end up spoiling the family's name. And so relay that example to the global world. That let's say a world where nobody's checkmating anybody, there is no global decorum, there is no UN, there is no all these geopolitics going on. Just imagine a world where there is no world order. Honestly, things would have probably get so bad. So democracy is actually on the ballot, but it's just that how active, how informed, especially the first voters, and then the newly qualified voters, which I'm still going to get into that during the course of this conversation. How informed are they, and how settled in terms of the choices before them they are really trying to make in this coming election in November.
Absolutely. It's a nail on the head.
Yes.
Democracy's on the ballot?
I think it's also, I think it's definitely, relative, as you're saying. And I think it really goes down to, like, the basic voter. Are you coming ill-informed, or are you coming, informed? And so a lot of Americans actually do not really know what's even happening in America. Like, there's so much propaganda in the news that is being pushed, racism this, and this and that. And you still have, let's say, the black community, right? You still have a lot of people from the black community that that do not believe that they can do things or get ahead because of, white, supremacy. And so let's just be very honest. Is it there? Of course. You understand, right? There's systems, right? There's always going to be systems in place, but when we really look at these things, we also got to factor in classism. We have to factor in classism.
And for the viewers that don't know what classism is, what
right.
is that?
So classism is really like, let's say, old money, right, versus new money and no money at all. You understand, right? So you have these people who have been, in these financial standing points where they're not willing to let that go. So a lot of the things that we're seeing today that has to do with what we just think is racism is really classism. And now, like, democracy, right? I feel today is on the ballot, but will it be on the ballot, for the next election? Because right now, a lot of nations are pulling away from the dollar as a currency.
They are.
And the BRICS has been, right, the new currency that 13 nations in the world right now are jumping on.
The BRICS are pushing it.
And the BRICS is being pushed, you understand, right? And so when we really look at democracy, it has a lot to do with geopolitics as well.
That is very true.
Because geopolitics is what has had America standing for as long as it has. Yeah. And the moment you have countries that are removing their backing of the dollar and backing themselves and their own natural resources, that puts us in a place where it affects Americans.
And how so? Control goes up?
I definitely feel like, one, when Americans are going to be affected through just our basic needs. You understand, right? Many nations want to come here for healthcare, but basic Americans do not have healthcare.
Exactly.
That's true.
So the basic American cannot buy a home, right? And we're plagued right now with such high interest rates and high cost of living that to me it doesn't make sense bringing people over here. Don't get me wrong, I came to this country, we're all Africans, I came here illegally, but it doesn't make sense bringing people over here, right, as well as sending so much money to Israel. Now, I don't want to stand against and fight against Israel, because you know what our God says about that. You understand, right? Exactly. But like for us, let's just be very honest with you. We need help here. Yeah. We need to take care of our own. You understand, right? White, black, blue, and this is what the basic American cannot come together and agree on.
Right.
And it's all about race.
It's all about race.
So that's why
From the beginning of time, it's been about race.
Right.
Just a nod on that real quick, right?
Yeah.
You see, I think we have a word now that, especially in the last decade, things have really changed. We've really come off time.
Drastically.
Right.
Word is really intertwined. And apart from the fact that I studied economics in school, I think what the BRICS guys are trying to do, you see, it's not that really easy something to thwart the currency that a lot of people probably used to in the past.
Right.
But of course, the liberalism side of the balance of payment in terms of trading too, right? It's something that to really, really consider. Take, for instance, each country will have to ask themselves, what do you bring to the table? Right. Where is your position in terms of the general world GDP, basically?
Exactly.
And when we further drill it down to region by region or continent by continent, where my country, what do we represent when we are talking about the global cake and all of that? So I think it would very correct for us to really look into the reality of today and what is that challenge, what are these challenges, what are they really hard, what are the opportunities, and what can we really make out of that?
Correct.
Because as long as individuals, nations seek for their self-sufficiency, there will always be a competition.
Always.
And that's the bottom line of whatever it is that is going on around the world right now.
Correct.
Thank you, Akani, for that.
You're welcome.
So based off of last night, what are the key policy differences you guys have realized between Trump and Kamala? Also, what did you like about Trump's, arguments compared to Kamala's arguments? Or do you even think he argued at all? I personally believe that Trump basically took the bait from Kamala. Kamala baited him the whole time about, Taliban, about crowd size, and about other things, the flattery, between other nations. Right. And he took it. You know what I mean? Even his last closing statement, he was supposed to obviously give
something.
He was supposed to give something. He was supposed to actually sympathize or try to get the Americans, their emotions, like their sympathy, for him to, get maybe some more votes. But instead of that, he basically just took the bait again with Kamala. You know what I mean? He just kept arguing. And it's really sad to see. I was expecting more, more there. Yeah.
And so to touch on that, that's exactly what it was. It was an argument. It wasn't a debate. On his side, it was a total argument. And what I would have liked to see more from Trump's side is plans, substance. I think he definitely diverted a lot when he was asked, what do you have planned? And, he even said, I forget which policy they were talking about, but...
it was Obamacare.
He said, we have a concept. We don't really have a plan. Well, Election Day is about, 2 months away?
50.
So that's pretty scary to think that
what is your plan?
There's really nothing in place so close to Election Day.
Absolutely. And this has Americans worried, basically. I personally do not like our options. I do not like either Kamala or I don't necessarily support Trump either. However, I do like the way he tells the truth. I do like the way he's open about certain things. However, he's not making his case better here. Also, his vice president, Vance, is not, his running mate, I would say, is not helping him. You know what I mean? It's kind of making his case worse. But, what are the key policy differences here?
So they're quite a lot. So first of all, we need to know that between Democrats and Republicans, there is what we call ideological differences. They're never not going to agree on key policy issues. I'd say the Kamala policy is focusing on people's policy, the welfareist, because we all know, like I said, that's why I started my statement with understanding the ideology, good differences of these two political parties and the candidate they are presenting. In terms of healthcare, I don't think they quite agree. The same thing goes to the immigration
and abortion.
Abortion
was
with all due respect, I admire Donald Trump. If you're looking for a guy who is ready to say the way it is, it's that guy. The only problem I just have is probably he has so much to say, then at one point he start conflicting himself. Because what I would not encourage anybody to do in this life is whatever you're going to say, make sure that it's a fact, right? So just imagine me trying to roll up a data on this panel, and Precious is trying to correct me on the data that I'm rolling out. That's actually a very big down, if I'm being honest here. And also,
especially at
talking about debating, right? He did play to debating of Kamala Harris, right?
Every single time,
and she also. And one thing I saw is that I think the current vice president she has been waiting for this moment all her life. And a lot of people, they've actually also been waiting for someone who is actually going to call President Donald Trump's bluff. In a way. But for me, some of the plans that resonate with me between both of them, even though the former president didn't really, unquote, stated what he was going to do, right? But one thing that the current VP said that really melts my heart is our plans for the less privileged people, the vulnerable people in society. How she intends to at least support the small businesses. So let me tell you, any society, I'm from Africa, I'm from Nigeria. Any country or society where there is absence of middle class, then there is going to be uneven distribution of resources. And what that creates is that it creates more poverty. The more the gap between the rich and the poor, the more we begin to nurse many crimes in the society. And she also spoke about the tax relief up to $50,000 to $6,000 for the first the young families, $6,000, and also the school loans and all of that. The $5,000 for homes for people who are just buying home for the first time. See, the basic economic theory is primarily on three things. Every other things are secondary, which are the food, the clothing, and the shelter. It is when those three conditions are met that is when you want to drive Tesla. It's when those three conditions are met. Let me be quite frankly with everyone here. It is when you have food in your stomach, you have good clothes on your body, and you could lay your head somewhere That's when you could think of vacation.
Everything else.
Vacation.
Once that is addressed
That's true. That is
for
so
any
true.
society, that is when we can have people meeting up their aspiration. And what Kamala plans to offer is an opportunistic economy
Yeah.
Yes.
where there is freedom for all. It's as simple as that. I'm not campaigning for anybody here. I'm just pointing out what both of them said during their debates yesterday.
Yeah.
And as an economist, as a financial analyst, I'm more interested into what are your key policy issues. Because till today, Americans still control between 20 to 30% of the world resources. And that's a lot.
That's a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right. So I really agree.
Great point.
Great point.
Thank you.
I really agree with every single thing that you said. And so for me, I was going into this leaning more towards Trump. But after really going through that debate, right, yesterday and really hearing everything, from both sides, I realized that Trump doesn't have a plan.
Yeah.
Right?
He's stuck.
Very
much stuck.
Or even if he has a plan, I think he does not want to, say that plan out, or maybe he's afraid his plans will be criticized. And so
Or maybe he has ulterior motives.
maybe, and like you were saying, Harris went into a very graphic plan for the American people.
Yeah.
And so if you're coming over here or you live over here already, right, and you want to buy a home, you're starting a business, all of these things sound really, 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 really good. Trump really has enemies right now. Like, he's banned from going to 37 countries.
Hey.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And
Very true.
and also he's not in good standing with NATO.
NATO's against him. They've always been against him.
Right.
And Kamala also claims that NATO is the best, quote, best military alliance ever created.
Right.
Do you
Yeah,
think
she
so?
did say that last night.
She did say that.
Yeah, she did say that, but do we think so? I personally don't believe they are.
I think historically, because these are metrics that we need to put together.
Right.
If I'm gonna compare and contrast, I have to look into historical, what has happened in the
information.
past.
Right.
Then I try to plug that with the current realities. Then we come up with a better plan for future.
Right.
If she said that, based on the alliance, the power that they have, the influence that they have on the rest of the world, I think she's correct.
Right.
But there is a dynamics now that where the world is tilting to. And one of the biggest alliance that the world has never seen that is playing to the face of all of us right now is the Russia and the China
China.
alliance. And
The BRICS, and
in
they're
terms
both
of
BRICS, and they're both in BRICS.
exactly, they are both in BRICS.
And they're I would say they're
The
more
leaders.
the leading countries in
Right,
BRICS.
right.
That's scary.
The NATO. So why people still respect the NATO is the power of the West.
Yeah.
Because talking about the colonization, the indirect rule, having most of even up to the language that we're speaking right now that we're using on this table, it's primarily from the West.
Right.
So, and one of the ways to control people,
Right.
media,
Right.
money, and information.
Yes.
And this is what NATO have.
Yes.
They have all of that.
A lot of
on
it.
lock.
So what does NATO have? So are you saying that's what NATO has that BRICS doesn't have? Because I'm pretty sure BRICS has a lot of high tech. You know what I mean? That basically advances over the U.S. tech that we have.
I
You know
think
what I
they
mean?
use it in a
So
different way.
China especially.
so look. So when we do comparison analysis of these beautiful countries, there are things we need to look into.
Yeah.
If Russia attack France, what is at stake for the world compared to if France attack Russia?
Right.
Interesting.
What is at stake? And you remember, if you have ever, looking through United Nations Peace Act and Global Security Outfit, you cannot just attack a sovereign nation just like that.
Yeah, you cannot. Right.
Okay.
You are meant to face global consequences.
Right. Right.
And
right.
all the developed countries in the world, they're NATO.
Right. Right.
So don't just look at the numbers in terms of populations. Look into the influence,
Yes.
the place of everybody. What does the world stand to lose
Right.
if Germany attack, if France attack, if Belgium attack,
If Russia
Russia attack? What do does you and I have to
lose, right?
Compared to some nations? If Congo attacked Nigeria, nothing will happen in the New York Stock Exchange. Nothing happened in New York. Nothing happened in the Wall Street. Nothing happened in California and Silicon Valley.
Right.
Are you with me, guys?
Yes.
Nothing happened.
Right.
Nothing. Literally nothing. I can say anywhere.
Right.
But imagine something happened in London.
Right.
There's not going to be Premier League in the weekend.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Imagine something happened. Today is 9/11, 23 years. Blessed memories to those beautiful lives that was lost.
Yeah.
It was a global shock.
Yep.
The London Stock Exchange, everything crashed. New York Stock, everything.
The whole world. Right.
So it's about what do we bring to the table.
Yeah.
If we attack Netherlands, that produces at least a chunk number of what the world eats today.
Right.
What is it at stake?
Yeah.
This is what we're talking about.
You know, I really agree with that, because if you realize, right, Trump was really trying to bait Harris by also saying that she hates Israel.
Yeah.
God bless you.
Yeah.
And that of itself, that statement alone of itself, when you look at this society that we have, right? I'll just say this. I really feel like this world really relies on Jewish money.
I agree.
Israel's money.
I agree.
Let's just be very, very honest with you, right? When you look at all of these politicians that are even, running, what do they, rely on? Money.
Hollywood. All of those things.
Right. And so all of these politicians, right? They rely heavily on lobbying. Lobbying is when you have organizations or just really anybody trying to put money in politicians' hands. Why? Because let's say every time you turn on the TV and you see an ad, just for that 30-second slot, right, you're paying millions of dollars. So when you have election going on and every time you turn it on your TV and you see ads every single day, that is money burning to the point where these politicians, they're pulling out because they're not receiving money. You understand, right? Yeah. And so with what you said, right, with what's going on, right, Harris was also relying on that kind of geopolitical stance of saying to the typical Americans, listen, this guy is not good for us because we need to start thinking about ourselves. That's the reason why, right? Like it's like Trump. I don't think Trump did a good job because he was out there bragging that he made NATO pay billions. He was bragging, saying,
he bragged the whole time.
Right.
The whole time.
Right.
We said this.
He was saying things like, oh, I made them pay billions. I made them do this. I made them do this. But the thing is that, like, right now, America needs allies. And like you said, you can't just go attack a sovereign country. And I feel like that's what Trump's policy relies on. I feel like Trump knows nobody's going to attack America. So even if he doesn't have a plan, in his head, he has a plan. Why? Because he's going to use his allies. He's going to use his relationship that he has, right, that he knows these nations have with America, right, and get favors, like Harris was saying. What does that mean? That means, right, when you play the game of geopolitics, right now, if a nation wants to get attacked, right, what happens? America is going to call both parties and say, if you attack this person, I'm going to withdraw, right, our security at the border in like in Tahini or something like that, right? And what's that going to happen for the people? Maybe in that region, America's securing oil.
Right.
Maybe Americans securing oil. So these are the favors that Harris was really speaking about. And so for me, and she really secured herself because Trump was even talking about fracking, trying to bait her
on
fracking.
Right.
And we all know fracking is hydraulic fracking. You understand, right? Where like that whole method is of getting oil. So right there, the American people do not want America relying on foreign oil anymore.
Yeah.
You understand, right? So I feel like Trump's plan, he went in there thinking, oh, okay, well, in 2019, Harris was against fracking. What does this mean for the American people? What does this mean for democracy? When you look at down south, right, a lot of people from down south, they rely on oil rigs, oil digging. You understand, right? And like Texas, for instance, when you see the droughts, why are we having droughts in Texas? Because when you do fracking, right, it's like the process of really digging down the ground, right, and trying to separate shale, limestone, sandstone, right, and carbonite. And when you break that, you understand, right? You actually have to pump like water, oil, and sand. That's the process of trying to get oil. You pump all of that stuff, right? And just one rig, let's just say one well, takes about 1.5 to 7.5 million gallons of water. You understand, right? And where's this water coming from? It's coming from underground as well as water surfaces, such as river, lakes, and all of these things. So I really saw Trump's plan. Trump's plan was going in there and trying to really bait Harris to show to the world like she stands for the people. But if I can get her to say that she's going to ban fracking, then a lot of people are going to be
turn
left.
on her.
A lot of people,
you understand?
turn back.
Right. So that's what I saw in this.
Great point, Diva. Very well said. So now at this time, we're going to go into the CrowdStrike and Microsoft issues that we experienced, especially during the summer around late July. So we have, our beloved cybersecurity analyst here. So what are the principal allegations and concerns involving Microsoft and CrowdStrike, and what implications do they hold for cybersecurity, especially in a spiritual sense? What are we looking at here? There's been a lot of prophecies, on just what is going on with, the cybersecurity, the tech, shutting down of banks, shutting down of hospitals, planes. We really witnessed that during the summer. And how worse can this get? It seems like there's no control over it almost, or it's kind of out of their control.
Right. Well, one, I just want to say that we almost look at the world that we live in today, right? We no longer live in a world where like a nation can just go and attack another nation, like you said.
Yeah.
Right?
Not like that.
What we are doing right now is we are sitting here behind cameras, right? And we are using internet.
Right.
You understand, right? And so when you really look at what this means is this: I no longer have to buy guns, right? I no longer have to train soldiers. I no longer have to do all these things that is going to drain my nation's resources to attack you. All I have to do now is send a vulnerability into your nation's computers, into the White House,
we were
into
just
your
talking
hospitals,
about this in the
into
car.
your schools. And guess what? Did you guys notice after the CrowdStrike attack? I think it was last month. They said 1.2 billion people in the world's information has been leaked.
I saw that.
By the way, make sure you go and you close down your social security numbers. You block it so that no one can open up, anything in your names. But this is the repercussion of the question that you just asked right now.
Yeah.
This information, the 1.2 billion information, right, that is out there now, comes from the information that was lost through CrowdStrike. After the whole attack happened, my family and my wife and my children, we received a letter in the mail stating that our information has been breached. The hospital's information was breached. You understand, right?
Yeah.
It didn't go to CrowdStrike.
A lot of hospitals.
CrowdStrike works hand to hand with Microsoft. Literally.
Partnership.
So think about the institutions that we walk into.
Right.
We walk into hospitals, banks. You understand, right? They're using Microsoft, Windows. You understand, right?
And the airlines.
Airlines. Everywhere in the world.
Yeah.
And then you have nations that are not, like let's say Africa, for an instance, we're still using Microsoft. A lot of African, nations, are not really using, in the offices, Apple, let's say, for example. So if we really want to talk about this, guys, right, I think we are in a very dangerous time. I was telling you guys earlier that there was a British billionaire that just died. Why? He died because he just won, I believe this, he won a case against Microsoft. Microsoft, right, basically was trying to sue him that they were stating that he was stealing data and stealing information and doing something with it, right? Yeah. And so he was tried in the courts in England. He won. Then they brought him over here and they tried him again. You understand, right? And he went through years of this battle and he won. So as he won, he got the president, I think, of JP Morgan, as well as other big, corporations to celebrate with him at sea. And guess what happened? They said that his super yacht went through some storm.
I saw this.
And everybody died. Guess what? But the people who died are only the billionaires that were celebrating with him. The whole crew survived. The whole crew. But guess what? What this guy actually did is this. Let's say somebody was trying to hack this iPad right now. You understand, right? You need to look for a vulnerability. So in order to look for a vulnerability, you have to look for something that is not patched. Because let's say, you get a cut and you put a Band-Aid. That's called patching. And that's what really we do in tech, and cybersecurity. But if you get a cut and it's not healed and you don't even know you have a cut and it's open, that's called 0 day. That's called 0 day. So guess what? Every single hacker looks for 0 day exploits. That's when there's a vulnerability that nobody has really found. Right? True. Nobody has looked into. And what this does is, right, it allows anybody to go into your system and hide there for months or even years. Yeah. For years, you understand, right? They can hide there for years. But this individual that died, this billionaire, he created a software that blocks attackers from attacking 0 day
and
exploits.
That's why they killed him.
Right.
You see?
I have a theory though.
Right.
Yeah. You see, there's a way I'm looking into that. I want us to know something, that governments all around the world are actually very powerful.
Very, very, very.
It would be naive of anyone to ever think maybe government at all levels do not that powerful.
Like, right.
I'm seeing a conspiracy theory. I read one article one time about what even happened during the COVID. Some theories said it was a pre-planned something to happen. Well, so I'm bringing us back to this just for us to have another look and understanding as to that attack. For 1.2 billion data, people's data to be out there. It's going to help, whether good or bad. Speak on the good, speak on the bad. There's going to be a lot of data manipulation, information controlling, people subjugation, and capturing of people. Because now, it is now easy for me to be able to track you as to what do you really like in terms of the interest. And even before this happened, there's something that all of us were not paying attention to. How is it possible for you and I to just be discussing, we need to go have brunch in New York downtown.
And it pops up on your phone.
When you go to Instagram, you're already same place.
You're seeing places.
So do not even think that.
Don't be naive.
All these guys in tech, they if they want to have your enemy naked, they know how to go about that.
They know how to do it.
But the problem here is simple, right? If states capture our freedom to the point that what I didn't do, someone somewhere, through my information that they have, they can do something with it. Where does that leave us in terms of moral society?
Yeah. And I just want to add to that, right?
Yes.
I don't know if you were done.
Hey, I'm done. I'm okay.
Okay, right.
I'm okay.
And so, for me, like a lot of my work in financial crimes is really cracking down on, espionage, bribery, money laundering, trafficking. And so, like you said, there's a bad and there's also a good, right? And I don't know if it's really such a good, but let me just say this, right? So every single day when I go into work, I look at individuals' bank accounts at the highest level. You understand, right? So if you were wiring $1 billion from Venezuela to here, it's going to land on my desk. You understand? But the thing that I notice is this. I am not allowed to look at the information of government officials.
That's shady.
I said it.
Like, as soon as it lands on my desk, as soon as it lands on my desk, it has to go to my boss. So let's just be very honest here, right? The reason why I love cybersecurity, because there are a lot of cybersecurity activists, and what they're doing is that they are cracking down on the pedophilia market.
Yeah,
And
you
who's
will
involved in that?
and you will be surprised. There are so many politicians that are actually running the black market for pedophilia.
Yeah.
So guess what?
Crazy.
So guess what? In my day-to-day job, if I'm looking at your financial statements, right? Everyone have this mindset for a minute. If I'm looking at your financial statements and I see that you are in New York today, right? Tomorrow you are spending money at a motel for 20 rooms, right? In a remote place in Texas, and then in 2 days you're in Tennessee. The next, right, getting motels again, 20 rooms, and then in that very same statement, I see McDonald's, right? You get buying so much food, you understand, right? Or I see you wiring $10,000 a day, $5,000 a day. Every 3 days, $50,000 is leaving your account, going into this account. Let me tell you guys, that is obvious that that's trafficking. Why would, and if you're not an organization, one, you're just an individual, and even if you are an organization, you understand,
You're not
right?
paying people's salary.
You're not paying people's salary.
There's
That's
no
the
payroll.
document.
Right.
Yeah.
And guess what? And this is what my boss told me. My boss said, I'll tell you guys something. If you want to get away with trafficking, if you want to get away with drug dealing, money laundering, just pay your taxes. He said after 9/11 happened, he was training a lot of the IRS guys, and they were more concerned about, I think it was Wesley Snipes. Something happened to him, right? Where they were so, because he didn't pay taxes, and they were so excited. But guess what? They were doing their jobs, trying to learn about money laundering and the heinous crimes that are going on in the world, but all they cared about taxes. So my boss literally says, if you are a very, very bad person and you want to get away with things, pay your taxes. So even while these politicians and all these evil things that we're seeing, you know what we have to look for? IRS. If we see it, let them go. Even if you're seeing 30 hotels, this, and this. So when we want to speak about the state and the affair of technology, can I be very honest with you guys? If we wanted to really crack down on evil, we have the power to. But we just don't do it because
It's benefiting
it brings
somebody.
money.
Basically,
It brings money to the
see,
nation.
we've been, technically, we've been capped.
Very interesting conversation,
Very
guys.
interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, it was great talking with you. Unfortunately, that is all the time we have for today. Be blessed, be vigilant, and stay tuned for the next episode on The Real Kasa Show.
And go vote.
Thank you.
All right. What up, viewers of The Real Kasa Show? Make sure to follow The Real Kasa Show on X, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok as well. Real Kasa Show, Mondays at 9 p.m. always.